we're back. This is John.
It's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And it's What If Geeks. And in case you hadn't realized, we've taken quite a bit of time off.
I'm sad no one reported us missing, or our faces are not on milk cartons or something.
Yeah, thanks, all 7 of you.
Right.
Sons of bitches. So yeah, we took a few weeks off between each one of us going out of town at different times. But now we're all back, and we were just saying how before we left on our little summer break that we were having a hard time coming up with stuff to talk about, and now we've got too much shit to talk about. So we're gonna play a little bit of a catch up here. First, now we're gonna do a review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because we're only like a month-ish overdue on that, so which is about par for the course for us. So
okay, yeah.
I think we're early for us still, so depending on what the movie is. But this definitely bears repeating or bears reviewing. I guess technically we're still out of sync because we've never done Spider-Man yet, so maybe we'll do that next week. All right. So yeah, so we'll go out of order. We'll do Doctor Strange now, and then we'll time travel back to Spider-Man. It'll be fun. Not quite the same. It's more of an end game thing than these 2 movies. It's more multiverse, but whatever. Same difference. All right, so Eric, do you want to go through like some of the intro and the basics about the movie?
Yeah, sure. So this is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's the second Doctor Strange movie. It was released the 6th of May, so a little over a month. The official synopsis was, it was useless, but Doctor Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that may be too big for his team to handle. Box office had 187 million opening weekend, which I think was pretty good. That was the movie was on a budget of 200, so it's currently at 400 as of today. What is it? The 15th of June. 400 domestic, 932 worldwide. So almost hit $1 billion. It might actually make it. It did run in the #1 spot for I think almost 3 whole weeks until Top Gun Maverick came out, and then it dropped down to #2. Ratings wise, this one's a little bit mixed up. On the Rotten Tomatoes, it's all pretty good, 89% critic, 86% audience, and then I went and looked at Metacritic, and it's 60% or 60 for the critics and 6.2 out of 10 for the audience. So one says it's good, one says it's mixed. I don't know. I guess we're going to be the deciding factor today.
yeah As we should be.
This was directed by Sam Raimi, who did The Grudge. I don't know if he did anything else more recent that people would know, but
Evil Dead. I mean, you got to know some of the classics he did.
Yeah.
Spider-Man series.
Spider-Man, yeah, original stuff. Yeah. The stars, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch back as Doctor Strange, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, Benedict Wong as Wong. I'm gonna mess this up, but I think it's Cecil Gomez who plays America Chavez, and then there's a bunch of other folks that are back reprising roles they had before.
We'll talk about them when we get there.
Yeah, I think we can talk about them when we get to it. Not too many spoilers. Let's see. So I guess the usual thoughts going into this, just based on the trailers.
I guess watching the trailers, I mean, obviously just coming right off the hype of Spider-Man No Way Home, I was really ready for this movie. I figured they were going to blow open the multiverse pretty wide, and you're going to get a lot of cameos, and the rumors of the cameos were running rampant. And we even made some predictions of what we thought we saw in the trailer, and some were right, some were wrong, But overall, I was looking forward to it, and it looked like it was going to be good.
Yeah, same. This always felt like this is what gets us to the next round of things. We knew after WandaVision there were some questions about how she's going to play into this stuff, and knew she was going to be a co-star in it, so wondered how that was going to play itself out, and we figured it out. So yeah, I was excited to see it, and then we'll talk more about that as we go on.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think we're all excited to see this, especially coming off all his involvement in recent movies. So, um, and the trailers look great. uh, we got a lot of glimpses into things that came true, mostly, I think, or somewhat mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
So I guess this will be our official spoiler alert. So back out now if you haven't seen it. Come listen later.
Yeah, go add to that almost $1 billion, and then come back and watch us.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess with spoilers allowed, what are your thoughts after seeing it?
I'll say this much, and then we can discuss the whole movie. For me, it lived up mostly to what I was expecting. You know, the cameos and everything. Some of the cameos that or one or two of the cameos I thought were going to be in there that weren't. I was surprised at, because I was really convinced they were going to be there. But also something struck me as I was watching the movie was, if you remember, and again, we haven't reviewed it yet, but we'll get there. Spider-Man No Way Home, the way they did the different cameos of the villains and this and that, whatever. When they did the fan service moments, they felt like they were just genetic to the movie. Like they felt like they were earned there. There were a couple of spots in here that almost seemed like Raimi didn't quite know how to do them, and they were a little bit forced. But it's, you know what I mean? Like, not quite as bad as, or well, nowhere near as bad as the all-woman scene in Endgame, but still like a little more heavy-handed than the ones in Spider-Man No Way Home. And as we get there, we'll we'll talk about it. But other than that, like I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home, but I loved what they did with this one and where we're going from here. And I'll leave it at that.
I think similar. There were times in the movie while I'm watching it, I asked myself, what are we doing here again? And what's the, like, why are we doing this? And there were times where I felt like, you know, when you watch the Expendables, you've seen, I don't know, what are 12 Expendable movies, whatever. The Expendable movies are just like, okay, we got all the action heroes together in one film, and then there's just some loose reason why they have to fight.
Yeah.
And I felt like at times that's what this movie was. Like, okay, we got the two sort of sorcerer, magic, wizard, whatever they are, folks, and we just need them to fight, and we kind of have a reason for that. We made up a reason for them to fight. I don't even know. At times I couldn't remember what the reason was or why I cared who won. Like, if Wanda would have won, what really happens? All right, this character we just met dies, and she gets to go live with her kids. Like, so what? The universe doesn't blow up. I don't think there's maybe there's an incursion point or whatever they called it, but like, he was creating that stuff more than Wanda was about to create that stuff. So it never felt like the fate of the whole world's at hand. You're just like, why are we doing this again? Oh, right, because we like this kid.
Right. Yeah. Eric?
This is it was an interesting movie for MCU because it's kind of like the one sequel to Rule Them All, right? I mean, it's a sequel to Avengers Endgame, and at the same time, it's a sequel to Spider-Man No Way Home, and at the same time, it's a sequel to WandaVision, and at the same time, it's a Doctor Strange sequel. Yeah. And I think a little bit that actually detracted from it, because although it's a Doctor Strange movie, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of, I mean, there is a lot of Doctor Strange, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of other things going on. There's like multiple plots weaving together, and they had to throw in new shit on top of it with the Illuminati, and it's like, it felt like it was a little bit missing, like the Doctor Strange character. I don't mean the person, I just mean like the character.
Right. Yeah, the essence of what made the first one so good. Yeah, because this one seemed more to serve the purpose of moving what's going on with the MCU forward.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
This was the bridge. This was not only, I love how Eric just put that, one sequel to rule them all. It's
Sequel to
also the
4 different
bridge,
movies.
right? It's also the bridge to the next set of things. So that's its function, was like, get you from here to here and be mildly entertaining and find a reason to fight.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Not that that's bad, but it's
No,
not.
overall it was enjoyable. It was just it was a lot going on in one movie.
I mean, there's a lot of action in this. There's a hell of a lot of like special effects, visual flair, craziness going on. I mean, everything from creatures to the spells to the mirror world. I mean, everything was like over the top, but done well. I mean, not over the top in a bad way.
Yeah, and Raimi did, like, you can feel his hand on everything in this movie, like from certain camera angles or camera tricks that he uses in his other movies that were present here, to like just an overall Evil Dead meets the MCU type of feeling. It was just really there for good portions of it. But yeah, all right. So.
Yeah, that reminds me too. I expected this to be really dark based on the previews and kind of what we heard, and Sam Raimi directing. It wasn't as much as I expected.
Right. It had its moments where I was like, oh wow, okay. But we'll get into that when we get there.
I also want to. Elizabeth Olsen is really good as the bad guy in this. The villain. Let me say not the guy. The villain. This sort of relentless, like, she's just going to keep coming, more powerful than all of you. How are we going to do? Yeah, that was cool.
She is growing into an amazing character here. Like I've again, one of the, she's one of my crushes in the movies. But she's always been like, really good in these movies. But she takes it to a next level here. Like she just like kind of took the momentum of WandaVision and like jump started this whole arc for the character, and it became, like you said, very menacing, very. All right, let's get into the movie because we'll be here again. We'll be here all day. All right, so we open up on what's called the Gap Junction. It's like a space between dimensions, and you see Defender Strange and America Chavez running across a rock bridge. He's Defender Strange because he looks neater than our Strange. He's got his hair in a ponytail. But he's he is Defender Strange, as they call him, right? They're running toward the Book of Ashante to try to to get to this book to counteract whatever's chasing after America Chavez, right? So there's some monster chasing them, a demon, and you see like some magical runes on the monster. It attacks them, tries to prevent them from getting to the book, hurts Strange, and then when he realizes he can't really hold out the monster, he tells her, look, this is the only way, which is kind of reminds you of Strange in Infinity War. There's only one way. And he starts to steal her power. And he's like, I'm sorry, but you can't control your power. I can. And he's basically going to kill her to take her power to prevent whatever's happening. But right at that point, the monster like impales him and kills him and traps her. But then she opens up one of her star portals to another universe, and she goes flying through it along with the body of Defender Strange. Then they do a quick little camera trick where the camera spins around and you get our Strange waking up from a dream. And this is how, somewhere within this movie, you're going to learn that dreams are just us having visions of alternate selves in other universes, basically. Like, so you're getting glimpses into their lives, which is a unique take on dreams. It's kind of cool. It's a neat way to explain it.
So that dream that everyone has, that like you're still in elementary school or something, that's you in the multiverse, like stuck in elementary school.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's kind of weird, but I mean, it works. It's a good way to explain dreams, basically. So then Strange goes and he attends Christine's wedding. She's getting married. So he goes to the wedding, but while he's there, the reception gets interrupted by something outside. So he's on the balcony and he sees America Chavez running through the streets. And I did like this little trick he did where his handkerchief that was in his pocket is a little red handkerchief, and when he pulls it out, it's actually his cape.
Yeah.
And
He just leaps off the balcony, like finishes his drink. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All nonchalant about it, right? And floats down to the ground. And when she gets up to him, he realizes she's getting chased by something that nobody can see. So he casts a spell to uncover the camouflage, and it's some giant squid thing. Somebody called it like one of the squid monsters of Gargantos, which is something else from Marvel Comics that you've seen in there before. And I know we thought it was something at one point, because we even like named it from another comic, but whatever. But this thing is this giant one-eyed squid monster, and it attacks Strange. Wong shows up, tries to help him fight it, and they do. There's a pretty cool fight scene while they're getting America to run away, and they're fighting this thing. Again, like we said before, a lot of cool CGI monster fights. This is the first one, and the detail on the monster, just with the eye itself, how expressive it is. It gets pissed at him when he attacks it, and then it kind of gets shocked when he splits the bus open. Like all little details like that. And then even the pupil kind of dilates, like, oh shit, right before he impales it. So and yeah, Shumagarath. Yeah, that's what we thought it was. But yeah, so it was really well done. So they destroy this monster, and then he and Wong take her to like a coffee shop or whatever to try to figure out what her story is. Anybody want to take over? He's gonna keep letting me go. All right. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. She's basically telling them somebody's chasing her, trying to steal her power. She's being hunted, and she shows them the body of Defender Strange. So Strange hides it within the wall of the sanctum, and then we cut to Wanda and her twins are baking, but then 616 Wanda wakes up from this dream and goes out to her garden. Strange shows up, talks to her about how real everything looks, and she said, I gave up reality warping stuff back in Westview, and she's like just trying to live a quiet life. So he asked her what she knows about the multiverse, and that's where they talk about how dangerous it could be and this and that. And basically he's talking about how knowing or finding someone who can go between between the universes. And she says something like, he tells her he could use her help, and she said there's other Avengers, and she's like, well, but he says, well, there's you though, like you've got the power to help. And she says, well, she says something like, well, I'm sure you in America can handle this. And he says,
oh no,
I never told you her name.
She says something like, bring America here and I'll keep
yes
it.
Bring America here and I can protect her. That was
and
it.
He does I didn't tell you her name.
I didn't tell you her name. And yeah, and then she immediately drops the entire illusion, and she's there in her Scarlet Witch garb, and it's like the whole place is like a decimated wasteland, right? Where all these like nice apple trees and everything were standing, they're all dead, burned to a crisp. And he was like, wow. So he knew it was an illusion, but even like it was so good, it was almost tricking him too. And that's where she goes into the whole like, you break the rules and you're a hero. I break the rules and I'm a villain.
Right.
And this is where again, where you said like she does a really good job with her role in this movie. It's the little ticks, like when she just kind of looks off to the side, like, I don't think that's fair. And it's like just like again, just like he jumped off the building nonchalantly. She's very nonchalant about what she's gonna do. Like it's just this is what's gonna happen, and this whole scenario is bullshit, and I'm calling you all out on it.
And she makes it pretty, like we've said this before, the best villains are the ones that don't think they're villains. She's like, it's very simple. I'm taking her power because I want to go live in a multiverse where my kids are real and they're with me, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like
I'll leave you all alone. I just want to be left alone.
right.
Then he does say, like, what happens? Something about what, okay, so she dies, you get her power, but what happens, with the kids? And she goes, well, if they get sick or whatever, that power is what I'm going to use to go find a world where they can heal and whatever. So she's got a reason for wanting the power.
And I don't feel like they ever set up, like, other than America losing her life, which I guess is sad, even though we've met her 5 minutes ago. They don't say, like, if you do this other terrible thing happens. Like, you'll cause reality itself to implode, or we'll do all this really bad stuff. He's just like, no, you kind of can't, because this poor girl's gonna die.
Yeah, basically, and that's the whole premise of the movie, is you can't just take an innocent life because you don't have what you want.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Which again, okay, fine, fair enough. But like you said, in the grand scheme of things, at least in Wanda's mind, okay, look, I just want to be with my kids, and the whole universe has been unfair to me. So,
right.
Somebody's got to pay. But so basically, she says, bring it to me, or I'll destroy everything you love. And he takes off for Comertage, and it's right after that, right? Because that was the thing I was going to say earlier, is the fact that, in the trailers they don't really let you know that it's Wanda that's the villain of this movie, but they do it pretty damn quick in this movie. Like, she lays her cards on the table within the first 20 minutes of this fucking movie. Like, she's like, oh, here it comes, and this is what I'm going to do. So, there's no, like, not like other movies where, like, the supposed other good partner suddenly turns and I was the bad guy all along.
Yeah.
No, she's like, right from the
beginning.
beginning.
Like, it's me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, no, right from the get-go, she's like, this is what I want. You're going to give it to me. Mm-hmm. So he takes off a Comertage and tells them, hey, the Scarlet Witch is coming. We got to do something.
Yeah.
So they get all the wizards from, like, all over the world to come back and help out. And then they, like, she basically straight up does a fucking Wicked Witch of the West, where, like, the clouds come in and she comes floating in among the clouds, and just he flies up to her, talks to her real quick one more time, and she's like, well, nope, you don't want to give me what I want, fine. And she just starts to obliterate everything.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny because at first, they got their shields up and they're holding, and then she's like, okay, brute force won't make this work. Watch this. And she does. And this is, again, it goes back to the Sam Raimi creepy Evil Dead type of vibe. While the camera kind of pans down to the wizards, there's one young guy who looks a little bit nervous. And all of a sudden, she, like, creeps up behind him, and she's right behind him, whispering in his ear, like, kind of seductively a little bit. And he falters. And then that's the break in the shield that she needs, and just freaking obliterates everything. It was real creepy the way she just kind of crept up out of nowhere, But so basically she destroys almost the whole fucking thing.
Yep.
Then Strange finally, like, they make a run for it, but Strange traps her in the mirror dimension. And again, thank you, Sam Raimi, for creeping me the fuck out. They do a really good job of where when he traps her in this dimension, she realizes where she is. And it does this whole thing where once she's in that dimension, you hear, like, kind of a music box ticking down. And then when it stops, the little mirror blades come out, trapping her kind of in one spot. But then she realizes that she can see them through the reflective surfaces. So then they realize that she's trying to attack them through any reflective surface. Water, there's a puddle on the floor, and her hand comes up and snatches one of the wizards down into the puddle. It's like really fucking creepy. And they start to try to cover all the surfaces, and she starts to crawl out of the gong. Like there's a giant gold gong at the end of the hallway, and she starts to crawl out of this thing like Samara in The Ring. And that part was like, wow, okay, like they really, like, went all out, like she was fucked up looking, creepy crawling out of this damn thing, stands up, straightens herself out, and goes on the attack again. Let me see. My mouse ain't working. Hang on. Somebody help me out here. Where the fuck are we? There we go. Thanks.
I think this is the point where they're so close to just getting beat that Chavez launches the Stargate thing that opens them, and they fall through a bunch of different universes. They go through like their paint at one point, and a whole bunch of other stuff happens, and then they land somewhere, and there's that sort of, where are we? What's different about this world and the other world?
Yeah. Well, it says it's Earth 838. So at least it lets you know when they stop.
Yeah.
The world is Earth 838. But yeah, they have no idea what the hell is going on. And they do have a couple of funny moments there where you go on red and you stop on green kind of thing. But this world looks like there's a lot more greenery and trees and shrubs kind of woven into the buildings themselves. There's a waterfall coming out of the Empire State Building. Like there's a lot more back to nature type of thing that they're trying to do there. And the one funny part they have there is when she says, she comes up to him with like these little pizza ball things, and she's like, "Here, you hungry?" And he's like, "How did you pay for that?" She's like, "Food is free. Like on most worlds, food is free." And he's like, "What?" Because she's like, "You pay for food?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "No, it's free on most worlds." And then you hear, "Hey, get back here, pay for that."
Right.
And so she's just been like wrong.
It's Bruce Campbell, right?
Bruce Campbell
Yeah.
and his cameo for this. Yeah, he's the pizza guy. That's when Doctor Strange puts a spell on him where he starts punching himself in the face, basically.
Yeah.
Which is funny as hell.
Oh my god. So not to jump ahead to the end credits scene, but what the fuck, man?
Right.
I know that pissed me off so bad.
What the fuck? And Becca even told me, because people at work had seen it. She's like, they said don't stay for the second credit scene.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't not stay for the second credit scene.
Right.
Because
it came on.
She asked him, how long is that going to last? And he was like, oh, a couple hours, 2 weeks. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, the end credit scene is him punching himself. Then finally, he stops punching himself. He looks right at the camera, then laughs and says, "It's over," and it cuts to black.
Yeah.
Like, you motherfuckers.
Worst end credit scene ever.
They did something like that with Captain America. Remember the one on the TV where he's like, "Let's talk about patience," or some shit like that. It was just some bullshit end credit scene. So it's not the first time they've done something like this, but it was definitely, like the worst one. Like I really felt like kicked in the ass. But all right, so where are we? Who wants to take over?
I'll do it. I think this is the part where they look around, and he sees a statue of himself. He sees a Doctor Strange statue, right? Where it's outside the sanctum, where the sanctum would be on this world. And the inscription says something about, America's greatest hero or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, well, okay."
Yeah.
He goes into the sanctum and figures out that Mordo, who's really an enemy, I think, in most other places, is this universe's Sorcerer Supreme.
Yep.
He tells them about dream walking. This is this thing that Wanda's able to do, that is this
using the Darkhold, yeah.
Right. You really, really dark power that the Darkhold has. And that the Darkhold, the more you use the Darkhold, the more it gets a hold of the user, and it changes you, right? Because that evil sort of permeates your being. You can't get it out, and that's what's happening to Wanda the more she does this. And so this dream walking thing can become really dangerous, I guess, for the user and even potentially the universe. Mordo ends up turning him in it
Well, the
seems like
basic concept of the dream walking, though, that we didn't go over was that she can use that magic to possess the body, an alternate body of herself in another universe.
right.
Basically, is that's the key to the dream walking thing.
Yeah. And so the very fact that a Doctor Strange is on this world gets Mordo to turn him in to the Illuminati and to Christine, actually, who has them both in like these plexiglass cages, and they're trying to make sure that like something's not wrong and what's going to happen. And then they say that the Illuminati will see you now, and so there's a bunch of Ultron bots that lead him into the Illuminati, and they're like he's at this sort of ground level, and they are all up above them. And this is the kind of a really cool part. It's Mr. Fantastic, played by John Krasinski of The Office and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, which is the ultimate fan service for that one, because everyone wanted him to play Reed Richards, and here he is as Reed Richards.
Yep. It's Captain Marvel, but the Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It is Black Bolt from the Inhumans. It is right. It is Captain Britain. What are we calling her? Captain Carter.
It's Captain Carter.
Yeah. From the What If. Sharon Carter with Captain America powers.
Peggy Carter, and it's what's her name? Haley Atwell from Captain America and from whatever, but she looks exactly like she did in that first What If cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's her.
It was definitely straight out of the What If. Like they took it right out of there. No question.
Shield and everything.
Yeah.
Union Jack on the shield, the whole deal. And then there's like a space in the middle, and you hear his voice, and he pulls in his chair, and it's Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. And I'm sure at that point, everybody was like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everyone cheered. And it was funny because you can hear it really faint. And this was one of those fan service things that was cool, because to see him in the yellow hover chair from the 90s cartoon and everything was cool, because he was even kind of wearing the green suit that he wore in the cartoon, right? But when he came in very faintly, you heard the 90s cartoon theme music. And that was one of the things where I was like, well, while it was fan service and it was cool, it felt a little more forced than some of the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like it not that it wasn't necessary, because it was a cool touch, but it just felt like heavy-handed, you know. So, but okay, we got Professor X in there. That was the whole thing, because Reed Richards starts to tell him, just you being here could cause an incursion, and explains how the incursion is basically two worlds that wind up, parallel worlds that wind up colliding with each other.
Yeah. And
he said they've seen them before, which is actually another one that's straight out of the more recent version of the Secret Wars comic series, not the old school one where we found Venom and everything, but they did another one where it was incursions and the worlds were colliding with each other. So they reference that right here, which is cool, because there is going to be a whole Secret Invasion, Secret Wars type of thing coming up in the next couple of phases. So they could be setting the ground for that, which would be probably balls to the walls crazy, because it'll be multiple versions of different heroes. So it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so that's when Professor X glides in. We should tell him the truth.
and so when and this is fun, like this now sets up, here's the problem, is when someone from a universe crosses to another universe, that's the potential now for an incursion. And if not handled correctly, it ends sort of the fabric of space and time, and the universe collapses on itself.
Yeah, one or both will be destroyed.
Right. And
that's what Professor X was talking about when he says we should tell him the truth. He shows him what happened when the other Doctor Strange did something, and their version of Doctor Strange, the one that is heralded as a hero, they show him what really happened is when Thanos came through and he tried to use the Darkhold to help stop stuff, and he got corrupted by it, caused an incursion. Another universe died, basically, and that's when they show like he was corrupted by the Darkhold, and they show in the flashback in Professor X's projection that's when the show Black Bolt kills the version of Doctor Strange.
Yep.
And that was really cool. Like a good visual of his power, because he just whispers, "I'm sorry," but then it amplifies.
Yeah.
Over and over until it obliterates him. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. But then yeah, he warns them that Wanda's coming, and they're like, you know, we can take care of her.
And so as they're having this meeting, Wanda invades, and she manages to slice through the Ultron bots, all the security stuff they've got. I forget what she does to Reed Richards, but he essentially
first it was Black Bolt, because they go to stop her, and there's again where you get to the more horror movie aspect, where she comes walking through the hallway into the chamber, and she's covered in the Ultron bot oil that looks like blood. She looks like Carrie, you know, right. Coming through there, and she tosses one of the Ultron bot heads down, and they all get in front of her to stop her, and Reed says something about, look, you know, stop what you're doing, or I'll have my friend here whisper and destroy you. And he tells her what's going to happen. So now she knows how to stop him, right? Mm-hmm. So Black Bolt, he goes, all he can destroy you with with a whisper from his mouth. And she goes, what mouth?
Yeah, she takes his hands
back, right. And he has no mouth. So the one thing he could have possibly done wrong here is he lets out a little, ooh. Yeah. And so he kind of muffled, and that reverberates back inside of his mouth. And you see it happen. Like the camera holds on his face. You see the glow of the power as it echoes in his head. And then it pops part of his skull out inside the helmet, and he collapses dead. But then they all go to attack her. Yeah, Reed's next one to go, I think. He jumps at her with his arm extended, you know, starting to use his power, and she turns him into spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like she straight up turns him into spaghetti and just like leaves him on the floor, and then his head pops again. Another one just pops. Captain Carter and Captain Marvel both kind of attack her in sync.
Yep.
But she kind of blasts Captain Marvel away for a second, and then when Captain Carter goes after her, she does the whole Steve Rogers, I can do this all day, and throws a shield at her, and she catches it with her magic and launches it back at her and splits her right in half. Yeah. It's like, oh god, I was like, geez, that was so horrible. And then she drops a whole fucking statue on top of Captain Marvel and kills her. And that's when Professor X comes out. And this was a really cool, like they did a really good representation of the whole like astral plane, fucking around with people's minds type of thing here.
Yep.
Where he tells her you need to stop, and he's immediately in her mind, and he's walking around like this white area, this just open area, and he's able to walk. So obviously, you know, he's using his powers, right? And he finds some rubble, and there's an old school TV laying next to the rubble, so it looks like the rubble that she was buried in as a kid, and the TV from her old apartment, but it's playing the opening credits to WandaVision. Right. You look at it, right? And she pops out of the hole like the trapped Wanda of 838. That Wanda is in the hole, and he's like, you know, I can help you out. He's trying to get her out of there, and then Scarlet Witch Wanda just comes up behind him and snaps his fucking neck.
And the 838 Wanda was just like, that was a Wanda that did live at home with her kids, just kind of a living the life that she Scarlet Witch Wanda wants, and she becomes the nonstop villain. But she's like, that Wanda was like, I want out of this.
Yeah, she's trapped inside that head.
Yeah.
So she snaps Professor X's neck, kills him. I was like, well, so much for the Illuminati.
Yeah.
We had great cameos for literally 10 minutes, and they were gone. What happens after that?
Then we do this chase like through the building.
Yes, yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah, that's where she's doing like the very horror movie-esque stalking thing.
Yeah. I feel like they end up getting out because they flood part of the sub basement, or something happens because they think this wall of water will take Wanda away. I think they finally managed to get to the. Does she open another portal at this point?
They get right to the Book of Vishanti,
Yeah.
and Wanda shows up, and that's when she snatches America by the back of the head.
Yep.
And takes her away, but she tries to destroy the book. Or maybe she does destroy the book. I can't remember now, but she does get away with Wanda, with America Chavez, and it's left with Doctor Strange and Christine running into another universe.
Right, which is one that had been destroyed.
Yes, the other universe that they had run into. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he finds the sanctum, which is basically just a decrepit old building surrounded by bones. And when the door opens up, he goes in, goes up the stairs, and that's where he sees Sinister Strange, which at first we thought this was the one straight out of that comic, out of the What If cartoon. It's not quite. It's very similar in look, but it would be this universe's version of Doctor Strange after the incursion happened and everybody died, basically, right? And he admits that he had used the Darkhold to try to, fight and make things right or whatever, and just basically he's corrupted by the Darkhold now. So the two of them fight over the Darkhold, basically, because Doctor Strange needs it to try to save America.
And I think this is the point where that Strange asks him a question that he gets asked, I think, earlier on our universe 616. That ours, yeah.
Yeah.
Where she asks him, "Are you happy?"
Yes.
And this Strange asks him a similar question, like, "Are you happy? How's it?" And he's got to really start thinking about like the path he took. He and Christine, is there a universe where they get together, right? Is there a universe where he's just a happy dude? So he goes through that. There's that sort of existential crisis for him.
And then they fight with Beethoven. No, right. They fight with music notes. This is really trippy and weird, but it was kind of a cool effect too.
This is another part where I was like, what are we doing again? Why are we?
Yeah, it was definitely out of left field. Like they were taking the music notes off of the sheets of paper and like making them physical objects and fighting each other with them. And it was very, very weird. But in the end, he basically launches Sinister Strange out the fucking Sanctum's window and impales him on a fence and kills him. But the last thing you see is his third eye, the evil Strange's third eye, open up and still look around. So kind of shows you like the power of the Darkhold is still there, So then he takes the Darkhold, tells Christine he's going to dream walk to try to save America Chavez by going back to Earth 616. She says, well, I thought the dream walk thing, like you had to go into another version of your body. And he said, nobody ever said it had to be alive.
Right.
And he takes over the Defender Strange corpse. And that's where we get fucking Marvel zombies.
Right. Zombie Strange.
Zombie Strange shows up. And they do a cool thing there where like when he goes to find Wanda at Wundagore, because that was the other thing too. Wanda, when she's attacking the Carmitage, Wong destroys, or Sarah, one of the other wizards, destroys that Darkhold, and she tortures everybody to get Wong to admit that it's only a copy of the actual writings on Wundagore Mountain. So you get your first look at Wundagore Mountain, which is straight out of the comics, which is where they were raised. We talked about that before. Wanda and Pietro were raised there. So she and Wong go to Wundagore, and that's where she winds up using the same spells there to dream walk and do all the shit that we just talked about. Right. So now she's got America Chavez there. She's going to sacrifice her to take her power. And Zombie Strange shows up but he's getting chased by dark souls, dark something. So basically, things that don't like the dead walking around. So
Yeah.
these black shadow demon type of things that are attacking them.
Looks kind of like a rock monster sort of.
No.
Shadow
Those are the
demon.
ones. Those big rock monsters are the ones that were there at Wondagore. I'm talking about the demon things that attack Zombie Strange at first,
Right.
but then he winds up using his power to control them, and he makes a cape out of them. He goes and he goes to try to save America Chavez at Wondagore, and he saves Wong, who's clinging to the side of the mountain, gets in a fight with Wanda, and I think that's when, I mean, we're at the end of the movie already. Like Wanda knocks him to the ground or whatever, and he tells America Chavez that she's the one that can stop him, that can stop Wanda. But basically, he's like, it looks like at first it looks like he's going to take her power, just like Defender Strange tried to, but then we get back to again his existential crisis. Is he truly happy? Does he trust her? Blah blah blah, whatever. So he tells her, he trusts her to use her power. She says she can't control it. And he tells her, you have to realize every time you've used your power since we've been together, you've brought us exactly where we need to be. So do that now. And the first thing she does is she tries to knock her into hell. And then that doesn't work when she realizes, I can just use my power to give, grant her wish, right? And basically ports her right into the house of the 838 Wanda, where the twins are sitting. But now the twins are terrified of her because she's in her Scarlet Witch form,
Right.
and they see what she really is. And she's scaring
And she's
the hell
there
out
with
of them.
and she's there with the other Wanda who they know as her mother.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Who are you? Get away from us!"
Yeah, and she's like, I'm your mother, and she does this whole mommy dearest type of thing where she's losing shit on them, and she realizes that they just see her as a monster, and she's not going to get what she wants, so she collapses to her knees, and now she's having a crisis, and that's when the 838 Wanda basically walks up to her, and like touches her face, basically forgives her for everything she did, or whatever, and tells her like, look, just understand that these boys are going to be loved, and she teleports herself back out of there and brings the entire fucking mountain down on top of herself.
Yep.
And the end. Now, do we really think this is the end of Wanda Maximoff? There was a really big flash of scarlet energy at the bottom of that mountain right as it was going down. I don't think she's dead. Now, I mean, again, now we've unleashed the multiverse, so this version of Wanda could be gone, and this 838 version of Wanda could be the new Wanda that we follow after this. They could bring back either way. I don't think Elizabeth Olsen is anywhere near done with this character. I think there's going to be more for her to do later. All right, Eric, give me real quiet.
I don't know. Like, I don't know that I agree. There's a lot of explaining you'd have to do to get her back. And I feel like we're moving past her the way we've kind of moved past Captain America.
No, she doesn't. No way she goes down like this. She has to have some kind of redemption.
Yeah, there's got to be a redemption for her because everybody loves her character. But on the same token, too, you kind of need her for some way, some form of bringing the twins to the Young Avengers later.
Yeah, I think this is just a stepping stone, because they did within WandaVision, they did that House of M storyline. The way that it's done in here, although there's a lot of differences, this is like Avengers Disassembled, right? Where she goes crazy and kills a bunch of heroes.
Yeah,
or lost twins. So they did it in like a reverse order. But I mean, I think that's just a path along the story. I think there's no way that she can be gone. I mean, this mountain too is a connection point for a bunch of different characters, right? Which I think we talked about before. It's not just the book that's relevant to this, and it's not just the her and her brother being born there or whatever. it's also where Morgan Le Fay entombed what's his nuts, Cthulhu or whatever the hell it's called, right? Which is a tie back to Black Knight. The what's that brainchild guy's name? The
High Evolutionary.
High Evolutionary, right? I don't feel like it's over. I mean, she may not show up in the next several movies or anything, but I feel like it can't be over.
Yeah, I definitely think she's coming back somehow.
And then what John said, right? That they are making a new Avengers at some point. There's gonna be an Avengers with her children in it. They can't just keep bringing them back for fun. It's not fanfare at this point,
Yeah,
you'd have to do it. You'd have to do it in another universe.
Yeah,
you'd have to. I get it. And if you wanted to do, like, if this is the launch of the X-Men universe and the Fantastic Four universe, I guess you could do it all in 838 before the events that happen here, before Professor X dies and Reed Richards dies, or some other universe, right? They exist somewhere else.
Is there going to be another Illuminati? I mean, I'm curious about this too. Like, so the 838 Illuminati were all murdered. So
right.
Did the Illuminati only exist there? I mean, it wasn't even the same characters that you would expect, right?
Right.
There was missing. I mean, they had to be, I guess, but
because the comic one has Tony Stark,
yep,
Namor,
yep,
mm-hmm.
Black Panther at some point.
Black Panther, yep.
Yeah. So yeah, there's
Strange,
definitely,
of course, although I guess Strange was technically part of this Illuminati too, but
yeah,
different Strange. I think Black Bolt's right. I don't. There's somebody else we're missing though. I think.
Captain America's in one of them at one point. He's later on. But they've done multiple iterations of it. So, but I think the original ones were Professor X, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, Namor, and Black Panther. I think there was 06. Or Black Bolt, not Black Panther. And then later on, they incorporate different things. But I think those original 6 are the ones that, when we discussed how they sent the Hulk out into space and started the whole World War Hulk and Planet Hulk and all that shit, that those comic stories. So who knows? I mean, there's so many different ways they can go with this. I mean, I don't know. All right, overall, what do we think? I mean, I really enjoyed it. I liked kind of setting up some things. I like the idea of the incursions because I think we're going toward a secret war, a secret invasion type of thing. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out because Secret Invasion is more with the Skrulls. Mm-hmm. I know they're definitely playing that up with Captain
Marvel,
Nick Fury, and Captain Marvel and everything. Him being off-world and the Skrulls being there, so they're definitely going to do that. But I'd like to see them do a Secret Wars thing where they kind of incorporate a bunch of shit. That would be cool. But yeah, overall, what did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I liked the movie, but it does feel like there's a lot of different things going on. There's like multiple different storylines, and they don't even really button things up at all.
Right.
I mean, we're here left speculating, like, what about this? What about that? What's gonna happen? And that's okay. That part's okay. But I did feel like, despite having good action, despite the story kind of picking up after a little bit of a slow start in the beginning, it doesn't feel like a Doctor Strange movie. It just feels like the middle volume of an epic or something.
I ended this movie feeling like I was still standing at the other end of the bridge we talked about this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Just waiting to see what's coming up.
So I guess I'm docking it points for that in a way.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, overall, I think it was good, but it could have been better. Like I said, I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Spider-Man: No Way Home, but that one also had 20 years worth of shit that it was building upon. So, right. It had a lot more nostalgia factor. I mean, this technically did too, but the nostalgia factor lasted literally 10 minutes. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, good movie, but just, waiting to see what they do next. which is coming up soon because in another few weeks we're gonna get Thor: Love and Thunder. So,
We didn't talk about the first end credit scene.
oh yes, the first end credit scene.
Everything seems okay in the world. He goes out.
He's at peace with himself. He's got gratitude for the life he has.
Yep.
So that's his happiness.
Yep. And he's sort of realized that like he and Christine are never going to be a thing. He's going to have to get used to that. He seems fine. He goes out to do something. There's some sort of problem. I can't remember what happens. Some reason he needs to I don't know if he has to jump into action or if someone says, "Aren't you Doctor Strange?"
No, well, at first, like as he's walking down the street, all of a sudden, like he collapses to his knees, looks up, and he's got the third eye from the dark. And then it cuts to another end credit scene where he's walking down the street again, and he seems better. And a portal opens up, and Charlize Theron steps through.
Right, that's right.
She's Clea, which is another sorceress from the comics, and she says, "Doctor Strange." And he says, "Yeah," he says, "I need you. There's been an incursion or something like that." Basically, like, everything they've been talking about is happening. So let's go. And she says something about, "Aren't you scared?" And he says, "Not really." And his third eye opens up and he smirks at her and they go through the portal.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then we get a bunch of credits, and we get the Bruce Campbell credit scene that we didn't need to stay for. So, yeah, and that was the movie. Oh, all right, there you go. That wasn't so bad. That was an hour. We could have probably trimmed it down a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, but hey, it's not bad for us.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, that's it. We got nothing else on this one because we've got to jump to another review.
Yep.
So let us know what you thought of the movie. If it lived up to your hype. Like we said, it almost lives up to ours, but not quite. But we'll get there. We'll see what we got in the rest of this phase. Like, subscribe, ring a bell, comment, do all that happy shit. Hit us up at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we will catch you when we review Obi-Wan here in about 2 minutes. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Doctor Strange's third eye.
Good night, Professor X. Maybe forever.